Hit me.
From Studio P in Sausalito, the home of the hit, it's time for...
Succotash.
Yes, Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast featuring snippets from comedy.
Soundcasts.
And also interviews with comedians, comedian soundcasters, and other showbiz folk. And now, here's your host, internationally recognized Comedy Soundcast Soundcaster, Marc Hershon.
Greetings, listener. I'll be your host, Marc Hershon, for episode 301 of Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, which I'm calling 4 Clips to Kick Our 11th Year into Gear. Yep, 11 years of snipping clips and chatting up folks from soundcasts or from soundcast-adjacent endeavors. If you missed last week's extravaganza for Epi301, featuring both me and my normally every other weekly co-host Tyson Saner, literally co-hosting together, we each pulled 3 clips from the Succotash archives and stitched them together right before your ears to create a triple-sized episode. We included the opening few minutes of the second Succotash test show, guest Phil Leirness from Chillpak Hollywood meeting Bill Heywatt, our announcer, in a memorable Boozin with Bill segment, a clip from 2013, and the Smodco Smorning Show, which was the first snippet that Tyson ever snipped for Succotash, the first time I ever had Tyson on the show as a co-host, a clip from a Soundcast host by Nardwuar, the Human Serviette, and his guest Japp Blonk, a slice from episode 173, during the stretch where Tyson had taken the reins as the full-time host for the show, and his guest, Hunter Block, longtime fan, friend, and supporter of Succotash, not to mention the last clip coming from a live Succotash show from Los Angeles featuring me hosting with guest Dana Carvey, his sons Dex and Tom, and Wayne Federman. You can get that whole Megillah from our succotashshow.com home site, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Audible.com, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, and pretty much everywhere else where soundcasts are streamed and or downloaded, except for Spotify. Why? Well, we're still supporting the whole Neil Young thing. Right? Right. But you know what? That was last week. Now that the celebrations and hoopla around our 300th episode are all over, we plow full steam ahead into year number 11 doing business as usual. I have a quartet of comedy soundcastery samplage from Aristotle Full Throttle, Brilliant Observations, the Jan Arden Podcast, and the Knuckleheads. There's one misguided call I'll play from our Succotash and Runaway Truck Ramp Status Hotline, and the whole kit and caboodle is brought to you from our fake sponsor, Henderson's Pants Disgusting Dungarees. The shit gets real, starting now. First clip out of the bag, if indeed the clips came in bags, is from Aristotle Full Throttle, hosted by Aristotle Dreyer, which I was turned on to when we got a note in the tweet sack, not now, Tweety, from the man himself, which reads, "Hey, can you please do me a solid and subscribe or share my podcast? It would really help me out, and I promise it will make you chuckle." Couple of emoticons. Thank you. Emoticon, unquote. Well, your wish is my command, Aristotle. First, let me get to my phone, open up the Soundcast app. They still use the term podcast on this thing. Look up his show, Aristotle Full Throttle. There it is. Click the little check mark and subscribed. And the full throttle part is no lie. This guy cranks out the content on a daily basis. On his Twitch channel, initially, which is then ported over to YouTube and then into Soundcast form. Aristotle is a force of nature. I reached into the whirlwind and grabbed a clip from his March 27th episode entitled The Joker Deleted Scene Live Reaction with special guest Travis Thompson. The title refers to a deleted scene from the newest movie featuring Batman called The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, featuring the Cape Crusader wheeling and dealing with his arch-enemy the Joker, who's imprisoned in Arkham Asylum, to get information on the Riddler. The scene was released shortly after the movie came out, and I have a link up on the blog piece at succotashshow.com for this episode, so you can go watch the scene on YouTube if you want. Maybe go check it out just before you listen to this clip. It'll certainly give this bit of conversation between Aristotle and his guest, filmmaker Travis Thompson, a lot more context.
All right. Now that was the scene that was deleted from the movie for, I think, good reason.
I don't.
You don't.
I watched that. I was like, this
That
should have been in the film
I
before the last 35 minutes.
okay. Well, I think I don't know. Like I think that it almost, if you were gonna cut something, that might have been something to cut for sure.
Okay,
but
hear me out.
Yeah.
Scrap the whole third act. Scrap the flooding and the bombs and all the bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. Add that scene in earlier on in the film. Focus the final climax on highlighting the real contrast between the Riddler and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Something that he has every reason to be afraid of confronting.
Mm.
I love the really putting a pin in the idea that he probably does, to some degree, as the audience I think does, feel that the people being murdered and throughout the film do deserve it to some very real extent. And you really could have such a powerful final confrontation between the Riddler and Batman, mano a mano, similar to the interrogation scene,
Right.
but without the kind of what I thought was a contrived, I plan to get caught the whole time kind of twist.
The bad guy always plans to get caught.
Right. And you can have that cathartic moment we were alluding to earlier where the Batman is forced to kind of confront some of his choices in a really powerful scene that doesn't require any action, doesn't require a big set piece.
Yeah.
For me, that would have been so much more poignant and powerful in the context of the film.
I mean, my favorite movie of all time is arguably, I can argue with myself about it, The Silence of the Lambs. And that was a very, 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 even Ange in the comments says Red Dragon vibes. Yes. Studio 88 says, who is playing the Joker? Leto? Actually, no, not this time, actually. It's, what's his name? Barry Keoghan is playing the Joker this time. What did you think about the look of the Joker, this interpretation? Because he looks like a clown.
I loved it. I thought that performance was incredible. I think if them, as an actor, I would have been really disappointed to have that scene cut.
Yeah.
And those, I don't know how long that was. Was that 4 minutes or so? 3 minutes?
It was about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. You kind of could have stolen a lot of the picture in those 4 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And man, I think I loved it. Yeah. I realized that in the context of a 3-hour film that needs to get cut. Yeah. But you didn't have to be a 3-hour movie to begin with, right?
That's just a sample of Aristotle Full Throttle. Again, catch that deleted Batman scene on YouTube. I thought the guy playing the Joker, Barry Keoghan, did a great job, and I would have liked to have seen that scene in the movie, even if Aristotle wasn't that into it. And go ahead and catch Aristotle Full Throttle, well, pretty much everywhere. Probably open the front door. He'll be standing there, just talking at you. Next up is Brilliant Observations, borrowing from the About section on their webpage over at podpage.com. The show is about real friends and is real funny. They also swear a lot. The description goes on, quote, join us for unscripted, uncensored, and definitely unsuitable for work comedy conversation about relationships, marriage, friendship, sex, hope, parenting, and prospering at midlife. It's like grabbing a weekly cocktail with your favorite girlfriends for a candid look at life that lifts you up as it pulls you in. From religion to porn to money, fears, our bodies, our brains, secrets, failures, food, family, and finding your path, almost nothing is off limits except politics. Gross. Longtime friends Melissa Brilliant and Amy Fugazi overshare about everything with the love and trust that only comes from a lifetime of being there for each other. So, cut through the fake friends who try to glamorize all the BS masquerading as midlife. We're the bawdy, brutally honest best friends you never knew you had. Unquote. Our clip hails from their Epi301, The Slap Meets the Toe, which dropped earlier this month. The hosts kick around the slapping incident from the Oscars, but then Melissa sidetracks into a vivid description of a personal issue she's having with one of her toes, and Amy is a bit grossed out. As was I. As you will be, I'm sure. Listen to this.
This week, though, I have to say...
Yes?
Was a slightly traumatic week. Do you ever walk into things?
Hi, my name is Amy.
I kick the bottom of my bed, my metal
collided
furniture.
with a great and vast many things.
Usually right after a pedicure, right? You just you kick the dresser because you turned around, or you tried to not kick the dog by tripping up. Every time.
Or the dog will come and go, "Hi, mommy, love you." Step on your toes.
Right after the pedicure. So I've had a couple of toe traumas. You drop a cleat or something, and it hits right at the wrong spot on the wrong angle. And I had a loss of a toenail.
Ew.
And by loss, I mean
ew.
It was like a door that opened up. Dear John Buchanan, if you thought dogs eating their own eye boogies were bad, I had an incident this week.
Stop it. Oh, say, can you see?
So you know your toenail. It's only attached in 3 places, right? The top of your toenail. The top of your toenail attaches to nothing. And then there's 2 sides and a bottom that attach to your skin.
What did you kick? Were you talking about Jada Pinkett Smith's hair again?
Well,
Did Will come and rip your toenail off?
Well, so it turns out that because I go from pedicure to pedicure, I might not have realized that I had a hint of toe fungus going on underneath there.
What?
And the trauma that I absorbed several times.
No.
Those 3 places of contact.
I'm going to stop you right there.
We're down to
Stuart.
1 place of contact.
Stop it.
And
stop
like
it.
a door
stop.
on a
No more talking.
hinge.
She won't listen. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to stop talking about. I'm going to talk to you right now about fungus.
Peekaboo opened the nail to the bed underneath. And I spent 7 hours doing exactly what Amy is doing right now.
Did you do this in the chair with the soup water underneath you so that you had?
No, I didn't get the pedicure.
Bath
I didn't get
for
the
your
pedicure.
worker?
I had an old pedicure on my feet and a flap of a toenail with just, pussy bed underneath. It was really bad. It was really, really bad.
What kind of monster are you?
So I'm like,
what kind?
I said, I'm
What
disgusting.
kind?
I
Are
have
you
a
a
toe
distracted
fungus. And I
kind?
got super judgy of a toe fungus because that to me is a sign of filth. And I'm a super clean human.
No, you're not. Look at your feet. No, you're not. That ship has sailed, Jeremy. You're gross.
So
that's gross. Your husband is in the biz. And this is what happens to you? What are you, diabetic? How do you not know what the fuck is happening with your fucking feet?
So here's the other thing, right?
Oh, God.
You know when you have a little crack in your fingernail and you get caught on every sweater and you get caught on... So picture that as your flap of a toenail when you go to put on pants and there's just a flapping in the wind because it is still attached on 1/3 of the 3. Why? So here's what happens. I call the podiatrist, which is really what I thought super old people do. I think my mother goes every other month to get her toenails cut, and I laugh at her.
At the podiatrist?
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I don't know.
with them?
Obviously it's fucking genetics, and it's about to take over this person. Pointing.
I still
to
don't
myself.
understand how you could have had decorative lacquer applied to your carefully sculpted feet.
Yes.
And no one noticed
No.
the evil that lurked beneath.
Correct.
Check out Brilliant Observations dropping weekly in all of the usual Soundcast download destinations, or you can visit our home site at succotashshow.com and click on the link to their show in our blog. We also have their Twitter feeds linked there too, so go there for all your needs. All right, next up, a word from our sponsor.
Friends at Henderson's Pants, we recognize America's, nay, the world's love for a good pair of blue jeans. Comfortable, casual, and another C word I can't think of just now. But most of the blue jeans on the market today are just so much overhyped, acid-washed, distressed, low-hanging, ill-fitting, poor excuses for denim that Henderson's has reintroduced a true classic, the 100% dungarees. Just like the rough and ready trousers worn by our company's founder, Jebediah Henderson, back in 1827, these dungarees are made from 100% real dung. Through a unique patented process, manure from 17 different species, including water buffalo, sloth, and rhinoceros, is synthesized into the most durable fabric ever to come from feces. So durable, in fact, that there's no punishment these pants can't stand up to, and they'll do it standing on their own. You know, people write in to ask us all the time, quote, how do you get rid of the smell of shit? Well, never mind that kind of language isn't fit for proper business communication, let alone the intranet. The answer is simple. We don't. In the words of old Jebediah himself, if the pants didn't smell like dung, what's the point of making them out of dung? Back in the 1800s, people only thought of Henderson's 100% dungarees as only being fit for the farm. But nowadays, of course, with the entire world knee-deep in doo-doo, whether it's the boardroom or in the classroom, from Wall Street to Main Street, anywhere's the place to be in your flagrantly fragrant Henderson's Dungalicious 100% dungarees. Originally designed for the farmer in the dell, demons in hell, and Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, Batmobile lost a wheel, and the Joker got away. This is a lot of shit, you know that. If I didn't need this job... That's Henderson's, makers of fine trousers and pantaloons since 1827, and now back to Succotash.
Our next clippage comes from a soundcast that originates north of the U.S. border in Canada. The Jan Arden podcast is hosted by its namesake, who is a singer-songwriter and actor. She's also a writer. She has a couple of ballads she's known for, Could I Be Your Girl and Insensitive. She's had more than 10 albums and has appeared in a bunch of TV shows. Her show, the Jan Arden podcast, is not really a comedy soundcast per se, but she's got a great sense of humor, and this clip is from an episode that dropped just last week on April 15th, featuring comedian Rick Mercer. Rick's also an actor, author, and political satirist, but he and Jan get into his new comedy tour that he's just setting off on, the first since COVID restrictions dropped.
Okay, well, since we're talking about comedians and parking meters, Caitlin Green, I'm throwing to you because we have questions to ask you. We probably feel like you've been inundated with your opinion on certain things, but Caitlin, go. So I'm putting it on her.
Rick knows what I'm going to ask. The slap as a stand-up comedian, you know, and you someone who tours and is funny for a living and is not going to shy away from a controversial topic here and there. What the heck was that?
Well, there's a whole bunch of things. For starters, I will say it wasn't a very good joke, and I'm sure Chris Rock, when he lies awake in bed at night, going over this, the first thing in his head is like, I wish it was a better joke. But ultimately, because it wasn't a good joke, but ultimately it shouldn't matter whether it was a good joke or a bad joke or an offensive joke or anything. You can't go punching people or slapping people in the face. And it was just a very unhinged situation. For one person to slap another person in the face like that, two grown men, is unhinged. But to do it on live television at the Oscars on a global broadcast is unhinged times 200. So it was a scary situation. I don't think there's necessarily, I don't know what the consequences are. It was just incredibly bizarre. And a lot of people are very upset, of course. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote this scathing piece that was just devastating, I'm sure, to Will Smith, because he really took him to the woodshed. It was just devastating. And that was from his position as a black man in the sports and entertainment world. You know, a lot of people are upset for a lot of different reasons. It was all just very weird. It's just so unhinged. It's never happened before. It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, a lot of people were so triggered by behavior that, first of all, they thought it was a joke, right? Oh, this is all set up. So there is that 1,000, 2, 1,000. Was this some kind of a joke? And then, anyway, it's so hard when a person sort of shows them a part of themselves that you didn't know was there. But I mean, I always loved Will Smith. I was one of those people, I just thought he was the cutest, funniest, and I loved his action movies. And
and he's a giant superstar. You know, his book, he wrote a memoir this past year and a half, and his book was a it was a juggernaut. Like, it sold so many copies. People are really fascinated with him. And I was really amazed because I know movie stars can sell books, but he just dominated the New York Times for a long, long time. So there's a real fascination. And it's obviously going to have an impact on his career because he hasn't broken any laws or anything, in theory. But I can't see people, like, if he wanted to go out and raise money for a big family comedy, I don't see people saying, okay, and you'll be the wacky dad who adopts 5 children. I don't see that happening. It's, yeah.
Well, the cancel culture is not my favorite thing in the new world that we're in. I believe in forgiveness. I believe that people do make rash decisions. I mean, God knows I've said some stupid things in my life and some really offensive, like things that come up on Twitter that, oh yeah, and Jan Arden said this in 2007. And they'll screenshot it. And I'm like, oh God, why did I type that out? Why did I do that? And I would like to think that people would say, well, that was a long time ago and Jan has,
evolved.
Yeah, she's evolved.
The Jan Arden podcast is available pretty much everywhere, but is an iHeartRadio original. Side note, Succotash is also available on iHeartRadio, but is a Succotash Patch original, I guess. Our last featured soundcast this episode is going to be a little challenging for you to find out there in Soundcast land. It's called the Knuckleheads Podcast. Easy enough. That's all run together with no spaces, the Knuckleheads Podcast. That will be helpful because there's another Knuckleheads Podcast that's a sports-oriented show hosted by NBA vets Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles. It's been out there for a while, so that's mostly what comes up. But here's what else comes up. There's the Knucklehead Chronicles, hosted by Terry Little. There's a Spanish language soundcast called Knuckleheads, hosted by Enrique Calavera. The Knucklehead Podcast with Dom Vitale. The Knuckleheads MMA Podcast with Tim, Jose, and Lee. Knucklehead Hour with Hayden Davis and friends. Then there's Shooting from the Lip by the 5 Knuckleheads. Cement City Chatter, hosted by 3 Knuckleheads from Midlow. And there's also the Knucklehead Media Group, which produces soundcasts like the Sales Prescription Podcast and Expert-ish Podcast. Compared to all of those, this Knuckleheads looks like there are only 20 or so episodes, so it's a bit harder to get it to come up in a search. Now, on Apple Podcasts, the numbers for the episode I clipped was listed as 411. So, I don't know. Maybe they had a hosting service go down on them and they lost a bunch of back episodes. I really don't know why it's so hard to find. And to that, trying to find a legit website, that was impossible as well. So I was really flailing. I found them on Podbean, which I don't think's their home site. Anyway, sorry guys, I did the best I could. I also couldn't really catch the host names. They're not listed anywhere. I listened to the opening of the show like 8 times and it sounds like somebody named Fanboy and somebody named Potato? That can't be right. And there's supposedly 3 hosts by the logo to the show and some sort of 4th weird thing, character. I don't know. It's kind of confusing, but it's very funny. It's just difficult to find and you're not sure who you're listening to. But here's the Apple Podcast description of the show. This should help. The Knuckleheads Podcast is a weekly podcast based in Brooklyn, New York. Offered on Podbean, Apple Podcast, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. The Knuckleheads are 3 guys in a room. See, there's the 3 guys thing again. 3 guys in a room talking everything under the sun. Authentic, real, funny, and not PC. The best podcast you never heard of. That is for sure. Welcome to the conversation, unquote. So you're going to have to do some digging to learn more, but here's a clip from part of their lively voting on which cereal should top the Mount Rushmore of breakfast cereals.
The cereal was KFC cereal.
What the fuck?
And they were like, what the hell is going on? And that's what started the massive cereal debate on Hot 97, talking about gross cereals, good cereals. They have a chicken and waffles cereal.
Are they savory? Like KFC would be. Is it savory? Like Chex Mix?
This is where the conversation went because they're like, hey, do you eat it with milk or do I eat it like Chex Mix? Because that's what they were trying to figure out on the show. Because they're like, yo, if it's salty, why the fuck do I want that?
Yeah, have like the 7 herbs and spices and things like that. Like I can live with that as a Chex Mix style, but I wouldn't call it fucking cereal.
So
like,
KFC introduced a cereal crusted fried chicken.
What the fuck is it made with? Because if they're little like regular puffs that look like chicken parts and maybe they got like cinnamon sugar on them, yeah, whatever, fine. It's a KFC themed cereal, but if these motherfuckers busted the 7 herbs and spices on that, I don't call that cereal.
I'm trying to find the back of the box. It looks like bran flakes, but I can't actually find it for sale.
That's because it's fucking.
No one wants to stock this shit.
Yeah, it's so terrible.
But anyway, so the main thing was that's what started the debate, and then one of the guys like
fried cereal on the box.
Then one of the guys is like, "Yo, what the fuck is Chex Mix?" And then they got into that argument. So let's start with which cereal must be eliminated. So I have 2 of the same type of thing, but they're just different. So you ready?
All right. I'm gonna ruin my childhood.
Which cereal must go? Corn Pops, Rice Krispies, or Chex?
Which Chex?
This looks like plain. But which one do you love?
I love Rice Krispies.
No, out of the Chex. Which one of those do you really love?
Oh, they're all fucking... Chex is always fucking good. All this, their apple,
so whichever your favorite Chex is, that's the one on the list.
Alright, that one might be a little bit easier. It might have to be Corn Pops, because when I eat Corn Pops, I burp them back up and I can taste them.
So Corn Pops gotta go?
Yeah.
That's easy for me. It's fucking Rice Krispies.
Come on, man. Rice Krispies.
As a cereal, it's garbage. Like, get your packing peanuts ass out of here.
I like packing peanuts.
That shit is garbage.
No, hell, it's not garbage, but in comparison.
All right, rules of the game are simple. If you have to live without one, so 44% voted for Chex. 40% voted for Corn Pops, and 16 voted for Rice Krispies. 16%.
Communism. Chex has at least 10 different fucking varieties. So
no, but isn't that good? Because that means 16% of people voted that Rice Krispies gotta go. So Chex loses, no?
Oh, okay, yeah. I had the other way around.
So this one's easy for you. I already know which one you're gonna pick. Trix, Apple Jacks, or Fruity Pebbles?
Trix, Apple Jacks, or Fruity Pebbles?
Yeah, you're gonna fucking pick Fruity Pebbles. Gotta go.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because those things, that's fucking colored packing peanuts right there.
They're delicious.
It makes you shit fucking funny colors.
And Apple Jacks, I don't give a fuck. I could get rid of Trix on that list.
Yeah, I could definitely double down and get rid of Trix, but Apple Jacks is good because the big box is always cheaper.
All right.
Here's the big one.
Captain Crunch, Cocoa Puffs, Sugar Crisps.
What's gotta go?
One's gotta go. This was actually hard, but I would get rid of Cocoa Puffs.
I get rid of Captain Crunch.
What?
Captain Crunch is good, but when you eat too much of it, it tastes weird after a while.
It tastes oily.
Yeah. Like there's an oil slick in the bowl. Like a lot of times after I eat Captain Crunch, I wouldn't drink the milk because it fucking something.
You go to drink it and then spin out like it's a ball. It's like whoa.
Yeah. And Sugar Smacks smack you back.
Those Sugar Smacks. The older you get, the better Sugar Smacks taste.
I haven't had Sugar Smacks in Jesus Christ.
And Sugar Smacks is another cereal that you don't even need milk. You could just eat that shit and it's delicious, like Golden Grams.
And I think most chocolate cereals taste good because you throw chocolate on anything and pretty much tastes fucking good.
So 67% of people got rid of Sugar Crisps.
What the fuck, dicks?
236,000 votes.
I don't think that. No. Come on, it's got the bear on it, bro. And the fucking frog, bro. You shithead.
All right, Raisin Bran, Frosted Mini Wheats, or Corn Flakes.
That again is the Knuckleheads podcast, all run together, no spaces. One of the Knuckleheads podcasts. I didn't want to spoil the final outcome of the voting for the Mount Rushmore of cereals, so now you have to track them down to learn how it all came out. We did have one call into the Succotash and Runaway Truck Ramp Status hotline this week. I am not sure that the caller has the right number.
Hey Gilberto, how you doing? This is Christian. I'm giving you a call from LA Fitness. Just wanted to reach out to you to let you know that you do have a half-a-month membership pass with us that still has yet to be activated. Once you activate the pass, you're going to have full access to our gym for half a month. If you have any questions regarding it, we'll have you can always give me a call back here at LA Fitness in Van Nuys. Ask for Christian, and I'll be able to help you out. Or just show up to LA Fitness here and the one in Van Nuys location. Oh, sorry, give us a call back at 818-988-7411, and I'll also be able to help you out like that. Have a good rest of your day. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
Gosh, I hope they're not waiting on pins and needles for us to get back to them. If you would like to give the hotline a jingle, it's right there waiting for you at 1-818-921-7212. All right, Tweety, now you can come out of the tweet sack. That a birdie. Let's get a look at the kind folks that have popped out at Succotash Show, our handle, into their socials in the past week or so. Rose Spitznoggle, my favorite name so far this week. The Jock Doc Podcast, Dad the Gamer, Huge Cutie Bat, Salty Language Pod, Misfit Scully, John S. Rennie, Wayne Federman, Hunter Block, Fascination Street, Richard Badger, The Legal Geeks, Colorado Martini, Sammy J89, Dr. Collision, Combat Radio, I Shake My Head with Lisa and Sam, Guitar Suncat, Kevin Waite 70, Married Crazy in Podcasting, DAPF Pod Annalise, Phil Leirness, Matt Knudsen, TT Marine, Kate Brunt, Minnie Kyle, Martin Olson, Linda Bunzel, and our old buddy Jabs of the D-Head Factor. It's an easy way to get yourself a free plug. Just remember to put our @Succotash Show handle in your Twitter and or Instagram feeds, and if we see it in there, we'll say it out here. Tyson Saner will be with you for episode 302 next week, heading your way via this very same feed. I'll be back with episode 303 after that, but until I return, if you're rollerblading down a super steep hill and you happen to whiz by an old man making his way painfully up the hill who gestures frantically for you to stop, which you do, and he points to your earbuds and asks if you're listening to anything good, won't you please pass the succotash?
You've been listening to Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, with your host, Marc Hershon. Brought to you by Henderson's Pants and...
Imagine your company's name right here.
Rate us and review us at Apple and Google Podcasts. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, on YouTube,
on SoundCloud,
and wherever fine soundcasts are streamed and or downloaded. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Succotash Show. Like us on Facebook. Email us at marc@succotashshow.com. Or call into the Succotash Skype line at our toll call number 818-921-7212.
That number again is 818-921-7212.
You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/succotash. Succotash is produced and engineered by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P Sausalito, the home of the hit. Our hosts are Marc Hershon and Tyson Saner. Our musical director is
Scott Carvey.
Our booth assistant is
Kenny Durges.
Succotash is executive produced by Marc Hershon. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Heywatt, reminding you to please pass the Succotash. Goodbye. This has been a Succotash Patch production.